Hello. All right.
What a mess.
All right. So we're going to re-record this video because the last one didn't have any audio, unfortunately. But today's video is going to be about my vasectomy journey, and we'll go from there.
Okay. I'm going to ask the questions. There are about 7 questions, and then I'll feedback on anything that comes back to mind, or I'll try to refresh from the last video that we recorded and there was no audio.
And before we go any further, just know that my experience is going to be different than everyone else. Every surgeon is not even going to perform the same surgery every time, depending on how well they slept the night before or any arguments they had the night before. So this is my journey, and I just wanted to share it in case it gives you any, just to give you more information on the process and the journey.
Okay. Question number 1, why get a vasectomy?
Well, for our particular reasons, my wife had 3 C-sections prior to us deciding to get this vasectomy, and all other forms of contraception that she tried on herself were not successful and actually
Failed.
You know, had grave impacts on her health, negative impacts on her health. So the onus fell on me, and it was the best decision.
The what?
The onus. So I guess
I was like, what?
I don't even know. All right.
Okay. It's okay.
All right. So so the decision fell on me to get neutered. I'm sorry. I mean get a vasectomy. So that was the best decision for us. And if you don't want any more kids, I didn't want any more kids because I was happy with the 3 boys that I had, and I'm very content with not having more kids with other women, so I can focus all my time on the kids that I have currently.
That's not including adoption, of course, because that's something that we've discussed since
Yes.
I've had 3 boys, and maybe I would daydream of having a little girl.
Yes.
So, but no. Okay. Was that it? Oh,
Yeah.
sorry. Had I cut you off? Question number 2. How long is the procedure?
So the procedure was about 25 to 35 minutes. Obviously, you know, it depends on the surgeon and how they're going to do the surgery. I can imagine that it could be longer or shorter depending on where they make the incisions. But for me, it was about 25 to 35 minutes in office procedure.
Okay. And now question number 4. How does it feel during the procedure?
During the procedure, it feels a little weird. It's not painful, but it feels weird because of the tugging that they're doing, where they're going to, you know, make the snip. So what they're tugging on to snip, you do feel that tugging on your body, and it does feel a little bit awkward to feel those tugs in like your innards. But
Innards?
yeah.
Is that even a word?
Yes, like
Okay.
inner components. But yeah.
It's also a local anesthesia. It's not a, you know.
Yeah, you're not put under completely, so
Yeah.
you're awake, feeling all this and the tugging happening and
Tug
all
of
that,
war.
and the smell from the cauterizing and all that. So yeah.
Oh, Lord. Okay.
Oh, but like the room was cold too, so like of course, you know, everything shrinks down there when it's cold. So I had to explain to the nurse that I'm a grower, not a shower, and all that kind of stuff. You know, and if it was warmer, things would be different.
Did you
know?
really
Yeah,
tell her that?
I had to let her know.
This,
Yeah, I had to
but
let
did
her
you
know.
really tell her
Well,
that?
I mean, yeah, you know, it's my reputation on the line, so I had to let her know. You know
I'm
what
so
I'm
happy
saying? I
I
had to let her
wasn't
know.
there to be embarrassed.
I told the doctor, I was like, yo, why is the room so cold, man? What's going on?
Okay. Question number 5.
Mm-hmm.
How does it feel post-procedure?
Post-procedure for me was a little bit different than probably what other people experience, or at least from what I heard from other people that had the procedure done. So for me, I guess the best way to describe it is by giving a little demonstration here with a little cutie that I have here. So for my particular surgery, the doctor made 2 incisions. Some surgeons just do 1. For me, it was 2, and they were on different places. So on my left testicle, the incision was on the side, so like over here on the side. So my thigh is here, for example, and when I would walk, it would rub by the incision point. So this one was a lot more difficult to heal because whenever I would walk around and move around, it would kind of open up and tug on it. The other incision point was right in the front, so that it would be like right there. So my penis would hang over it, and my thigh would be over here, and it would not rub on it. So this one healed very quickly, didn't have any issues. This one on the side where my thigh was gave me more of an issue. I'm not 100% sure why he decided to do 2 different locations for the incision. The nurse asked him when he was done doing this side, hey, do you want to walk around the table and do it from there? And he said no. And I thought that was weird, so I was like, hey, you know, why is she asking you if you want to switch sides? You know, because I figured these nurses are there all the time, and for him to ask him about the technique of his procedure and if he wanted to switch sides, I thought maybe it was something very relevant. So he said, oh no, it's like, he compared it to playing a tennis game. He said it's like using your forehand versus your backhand. For some people, their backhand's a lot stronger than their forehand, and that's why, she recommended that I switch sides. But it's okay, I've done this a lot, and I can manage on this side. So for those of you out there that are thinking about having this procedure, maybe you should tell your surgeon, hey, listen, I want you to use your dominant hand on both sides of the incision rather than just, wing it and manage. I don't want you to manage down there. I want you to give your best performance. And I should have spoken out more and said, hey, listen, if it would be easier for you and you'd have more likely success from using a better angle, why don't you just move around the table and take those 30 seconds and move your stuff around so that I don't have an issue with the recovery. Because of it being on the side and my leg constantly rubbing on it, it didn't close all the way and it reopened, and I think partially that's why it got infected. And when it gets infected, you get a fever, you get chills, I got a lump in there, like in my testicles and my scrotum. It was very painful, and to have fever and chills during COVID times is very stressful because you think you've got COVID and I've got, a pain in my scrotum with a lump in it. So I thought, my God, I'm dying.
And a vasectomy.
And a vasectomy. So it was like the worst, really. I was in bed, like, just thinking it was the worst. So, and then on top of all that, like, I had to go see my surgeon to get medication for it. And then he was like, hey, listen, I don't even know if they're gonna let you in the building because if you come with a fever, they might think you have COVID and turn you away. So I was like, oh my God. So I don't even know what to do. So I had to take fever reducers to go in there so I could pass the fever scan. Luckily, the person that was doing the fever scan was like, oh, the battery's low, it's okay, go ahead. So I got lucky, but somebody else may not have the same luck, and I just wanted to tell you what my experience was like. So instead of taking, a day or two to heal and get back to work, and then a week or two from there to be able to exercise, I couldn't exercise for about a month and a half because I needed to be on antibiotics for 2 weeks, and then I had to be monitored for a month after that to make sure the lump that was in my scrotum from the infection or whatever happened in there to become down again. So that's what my process was like, and it was really uncomfortable. When I would try to work out or lift or anything during that process, it would feel like I was going to have a hernia because I felt like the pull in my lower abdominal area from, where they snipped. So that's what I had to go through with my post-surgery.
And now question number 6. Does it feel the same way when you ejaculate? I'm sure this question is going to be quite a question that you probably type in YouTube.
So this was a question that I asked other people that I knew, about 3 or 4
other
people.
Men,
other men that got the procedure. I think I asked them like 5, 6, 7, 8 times, does it feel the same? Does it feel the same? And every answer I got was yes. So I don't know if these individuals were as in tune to or have had as much experience as I had in ejaculating what it feels like, but I have lots of experience with ejaculating, and I know exactly what it feels like and how it makes me feel because I love the feeling of it and the release that you feel from it. So with that said, the release is not the same. I guess it would be obvious to most to know that the release would not be the same because you're not releasing the same amount of stuff after this procedure. Semen comes out, so it's a little bit more watery, it's not as thick, but there's no sperm in it. So that sperm is being held back and it's not coming out. So all that pressure that wants to come out doesn't. So it doesn't feel exactly the same. And with that said,
breathe.
Okay, yeah, so
breathe. I feel him holding his breath because it's so much emotional attachment to this, and that's something that needs to be
I have a
put out there.
I had a relationship with ejaculating that was very, very like sincere to me.
Not
and,
so
and
much
close
that
to my heart.
every male does.
You know,
but what I'm trying to say is your release as far as speaking, because you're talking right now, and I feel you're talking at the edge of your seat and you're not breathing.
So I need to breathe more. So
let
me explain better. For some people, after long days of work, they would come home and unwind with a glass of wine or a workout or whatever. After a long day or stressful day, wanted to come home and have a nice ejaculation, with my wife. So
now it's different.
So it's different now, but it's less stressful, right? So there's the pros and cons, right? So you feel about 75 to 80% the same release, but 20% of it is not going to be released, and you're going to feel that. On the positive side is, I don't have to worry about my wife getting pregnant again and having to go through a C-section. And on the other positive side is eventually you will forget about what that other 20% release felt like, because as time progresses and
you adapt.
And you start to adapt, kind of like with COVID now, this is the new norm kind of thing. Like when you used to see people in the past, you would, give them a hug and kiss on the cheek, and talk up close. Now it's like you wave high like 6 feet away, and maybe if you're lucky you get an elbow dab or something. So you kind of get used to it as time progresses of what it feels like now compared to before, and you don't feel as bad for not knowing that this was a possibility, because everyone I asked said that it was going to feel exactly the same. Every man that I asked told me that it was going to feel exactly the same, and for me it's not the same. So I just feel like everyone needs to know that, and it makes sense. So when you do ejaculate now after the procedure, you feel pressure down there, and it's weird. It's like a pressure that you feel like you almost want to massage out and rub out, but it's not.
Just to, because I don't want to forget. I don't want to like take your, platform.
Okay. Yeah.
But because I already forgot what I was going to say with one of the other questions.
It's okay.
But that could be something that's happening because of the time period of him having the procedure. So I gave birth in May of 2020, where he had the procedure in August of 2020. So advice to all of you out there that's considering this idea for your relationship in your family, household, etc. Don't do it too close to our situation, similar, which is after a cesarean or traumatic birth or anything where you have to heal, where your husband has to be there for you, and then your children have to be remote learning in it. So whatever obstacles are there, to add on a vasectomy, because that was a choice that we had, and I think we kind of sped it up.
And I mean,
we didn't really have to.
In all fairness, like for a man, there's never really a great time to get a vasectomy, right? It's like you avoid it at all costs, delay it at all costs, right? But for me, after seeing my wife go through her third C-section where she almost bled out on the table in front of me.
That's another video. I'm gonna cry. I don't want to cry.
That's it. Enough is enough. I need to just, man up and get this done. And everyone was telling me, oh yeah, in 2 days you'll be back to work, a week or two you'll be able to work out again, you'll be perfectly fine. But for me, it was like a month and a half, which still in the grand scheme of things compared to the recovery for a C-section was fairly quick. And it was a procedure, not a surgery. So I need to stop complaining, and this is what it is. And,
it's not that you should stop complaining. I mean, yes, a part of me is like, stop complaining.
Well, I'm not complaining here. I'm informing here. So it's different when I complain on camera, because it's informing you and not me just complaining. Yeah.
But a part of me is that he should be entitled to complain, because he did do a procedure, he did experience something, and he's entitled to that feeling, especially as a man. And society's oftentimes doesn't allow that. So what we're trying to share here is that you are entitled. You should ask questions, post, pre, and continue, because my elaborated question right now is that maybe someone can comment to us and leave a comment below that this is something that you're feeling now because you've been in the procedure recovery so long, but like maybe in like a year or so it'll feel like back to normal. Which is I'm hoping, because I know that after my second C-section, it took like a good 5.5, 6 years to feel the sensation of my lower abdominal wall and feel like a feeling. Like before that, I don't, like right now I don't feel anything, but with my second, it took that long and I did feel it. So I'm wondering if it just, there's a time element for him to feel the ejaculation that he once felt.
I think I'm just gonna like just bury it and repress it in my mind, what it used to feel like versus it does now, and just pretend like it feels exactly the same, because for some times that's how you have to move on in life, like just cut your losses and move on. And also if you are going to ask other men how their experience with a vasectomy, just know that you're probably not going to get the full story. Ask your wife to ask their significant other, because when Cynthia asked their wives what was their experience, she got a lot more information, because she was like, oh, hey, Salim's dealing with this, he got a fever, he has to get on antibiotics, this, that. Then she told me their wives were like, oh yeah, him too, yeah, like a month later. Oh yeah, he had a fever, he had a lump, he went back to the doctor. And I was like, geez, where was all this information when I asked you about mine? Like, it would have been nice to know that, I need to look out for an infection, and if I feel a fever coming on, no, it could be infected, or if I have a knot in there or a lump or whatever, it's not normal. So it would have been nice to know that.
To be mentally prepared, that would have been nice. I mean, I got frustrated at one point. I was like, okay, our camera guy is telling us that we need to move on with the question. Last question is, how do you verify the success of the procedure?
Yeah, so you go into an office and you give them a sample of your semen analysis, and then they check there to see if there's any sperm in there, and if there's no sperm in there, then it was a success. And if there is sperm in there, then I guess they have to go back in there and redo the procedure and see why. But hopefully that won't be the case for me. I haven't gone in for a semen analysis yet, but hopefully, I'm sorry, I don't even know why they call it semen analysis. I guess they analyze your semen to see if there's sperm in there, but they're really looking to see if there is sperm in there. But yeah.
So that pretty much wraps up all the questions.
Yeah.
I gotta speed this through because Lucas is our camera guy and he's in the back and he's telling us to like wrap it up, and it's also because Noah's playing video games and Issa might wake up any moment, and he is the new member of our beautiful family.
So I hope this was informative to you. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below, and I'll try to get back to them and let you know.
Yeah, and we'll probably do a part 2 to his analysis and see what continues on, because this is in fact, journey, as he said in the beginning. Yeah, and that's it. I think
and also just know this: if you have any discomfort or pain or anything like that, just know that your wife will be a little sympathetic to you, but tell you to stop being a wuss and to move on, because they have to deal with pain on a level like we don't have to deal with every month with their menstrual cycle, and if they ever had a C-section. So just know that if you're complaining to them, save it. Like, complain to your boys or complain to somebody else, because they'll be more sympathetic to you. In all fairness, you were very good with me because you are very nurturing, but there were times like you were like, Celine, really? For real? Did you get cut in half? Did you see yourself bleeding out on the table?
I didn't see
You
myself.
went for an in-office procedure.
I mean, you
relax.
walked out. Yes,
you walked out, right?
But listen,
so,
but
in all fairness,
the purpose of this video is that I want, especially giving birth to 3 males, elaborate, protest, and fight for the male voice. Yeah. It's not just females. I mean, we need our voices to always be heard in the past, future, and continued. But males oftentimes are told to suppress, and in a very unhealthy way, non-productive, which is a vicious cycle, because then we are the punch bags for it, we as in females, and that's not healthy. So that's why I had times in my moments where I would see him complain. I'd be like, okay, let me be sympathetic. He is in fact afraid and not himself, because he did something that is not in his nature and it was by choice. So I need to be there and support him. So for all you females out there that want to do what I did, find yourself, reflect and say, you know what, let me be there for him, because that's what you need to do.
Yeah, and also just like not all males are going to be supportive of your decision either. I had family members telling me, why are you going to nude yourself? Why are you going to chop your balls off? like what's going on with you? Why are you going to deface your body and like all this other stuff? And it was whatever. It was my personal decision. I felt it was the best decision for myself and my family. So just keep that in mind too.
Did they really say deface your body?
Out there. Well, yeah. Like some of my more religious friends were like, this is your temple, this is your body. God has made you perfect. Why are you going to,
That is nonsense. Meanwhile, like, I didn't have a choice. Like, I mean, prehistorically, long time ago, women didn't have a choice. The choice was life or death.
No, I understand. But what I did was an elective decision.
No, I know.
I had a choice technically, right?
But the choice is also, do you want to bury your wife?
I mean, yes, that's true. Like, they were like, yo, what's wrong with you? You don't know how to pull out? What's up? You a 1 minute man, blah, blah, blah. Like,
my God,
they saw all that stuff.
Let's wrap
people
this
are
up.
going to ask you that, Yeah.
So that's true what he's saying. So ignore those
and I told him, I'm not a minute man, I'm at least a 20-minute man. And I like going back to back. So I needed to have a way,
Okay, oh my God, I poked through that. Okay, so bye. Thank you for watching. And we'll, answer the questions if we get any. Bye.
Bye.